Good morning, everyone. Don't worry, we're not going to drink this Atlantis water. It might have been the case a couple years ago, but more on that in a little bit. So we're honored here to be here at the CDC Health Marketing and Social Media Conference, the 6th annual one, and we're going to take you on a journey through the eyes of a first-line responder volunteer going through Atlanta's concrete jungle on the way to the latest wellness vibes on the streets. We're going to show you how we collaborated with our stakeholders and effectively developed and implemented a myriad of multi-pronged interventions in Atlanta. So, I see that there's a couple CDC colleagues in the audience, and I'm on Tim's behalf, and there are no financial interests to disclose. So, without further ado, if you would, we're going to go on to the next slide. Okay, so there is the poor volunteer, either lost in the weeds or hiding in the weeds. So what we're going to do today is we're going to guide you through our implementing and developing a cloud mobilization framework on the way to wellness. So we're going to break down each step to visualize, organize, manage a sea of information around there to enable change. So our goal today is to give you the tools, the resources, so that you can be a change agent. You can link, you can inform, you can improve your communities. And remember, it only starts with one, and that could be you. Okay, first stop on our journey is Atlanta's public health infrastructure that's flawed and problematic. Unlike a lot of major cities in the country, the infrastructure continues to crumble. Today we're going to talk about dirty water interventions. We're going to talk about road hazard campaigns. We're going to also go into, We're also going to go talk about trash and sanitation problems and our interventions associated with that. And then the last one we're going to go into is special use permitting and some activities that were in the best interest in our communities and how we tackle that and brought our stakeholders along. Okay, so the second stop on our journey on our way to Atlanta's wellness is looking at the latest and greatest on situational modeling. So we turned to our friends at CDC and we took their best practices. So we retrofitted it and rebranded it into our cloud mobilization framework. And so today we're going to talk about 3 steps. 1 and 2 is really where the work begins, and that's where we were data mining and data probing. We were sending out emails, we were conducting focus groups, we were on Facebook to get our word out, get our gospel out on the front end of our interventions. So then once we started analyzing the data, we looked at some of the strengths and opportunities similar to a SWOT analysis. And then the third step, that's really where the rubber meets the road. And that's where we were looking at 4 policy performance indicators at the city level that were failing us in water, trash pickup, and so on. So we're going to talk about those things today. So in addition to our methodologies, we needed some really ever-ready tools, primary tools. And so we used a community needs health assessment checklist. Essentially that was environmental scanning of the environment to see what health hazards were out there. Then we also looked to see what was the latest in mapping. It seems like the rage in public health is to map out disease hazards, incident levels, and so on. And so we used a software similar to Visio to really chart our progress, to look at our roadmap from the start of our interventions to the end, and following that breadcrumb trail to some of the various mid-level decisionary points. And we used mind mapping by MindJet, and that was free. It was 30 days free trial, and you'll see that all of our interventions were really cost-free since we were self-funded. We're volunteers in the neighborhood, and we have no budget. We're doing it just as good Samaritans. So, saying that, these interventions were running simultaneously, and it got really crazy to try to manage them. And so this mapping tool, which I'll show in a minute, really helped us manage, organize, helped us capture real-time data that was really swirling around us, just a clutter of information to help us really organize our thoughts and our process.